Hello, everybody. My name is Meg Moonbeam, and I'm from Beyond Mystic. And welcome to another episode of The Oracle Show here on the Beyond Mystic YouTube and Rumble channels. And today I am super, super excited because I am here with two very magical and special Sagittarius co-hosts, JENS and Coco. Hello, Coco and JENS. How are you guys
Hi.
doing today?
We're great. Well, I'm great. How about you, Jens?
I'm great too. I'm excited to be on the show. It's amazing.
Yeah. And I'm sure many of you guys, if you're a regular viewer of Beyond Mystic, you recognize maybe myself and maybe Coco, but some of you may be thinking, who is this very charming and handsome young lad on the screen as well? And this happens to be a new member of our Beyond Mystic family. And he also happens to be my husband that stole me from Canada and brought me to Belgium for the past 3 years. So we're all very, very excited to have you here, Jens, and Coco as well. And yeah, we're going to have a really fun show this evening. So today we're going to be talking about the current energies, some of the astrology, some of our divine oracle downloads that we're feeling guided to share. And we also have some exciting news to announce that we will get to. And also, you guys watching live, you can ask questions in the chat and we will answer some of those questions throughout the show. So don't hesitate to bring up your questions, comment in the live chat. We love interacting with you guys live. And thank you all so much for your support. So before we get into it, just want to mention, you guys, please remember to like, share, and subscribe to the Beyond Mystic YouTube channel, as well as the Rumble channel, where we're having a lot of people. I think these days there might be even more viewers on the Rumble. What do you think, Coco?
Yeah.
The Rumble is like
The Rumble is up and running.
Up and running and uncensored.
Yeah, it's the place to be.
Yeah, that's the place to be. So make sure you're subscribed to us on Beyond Mystic YouTube and Rumble. And also, we're getting to this very soon, we now have Jens available on the Beyond Mystic consultations, part of beyondmystic.net, offering his synergy, coaching, and healing one-on-one sessions. So Jens, we're very, very excited for you to be offering this and a part of our Beyond Mystic family. And you're going to do a big launch for these sessions on Thursday on the Beyond the News with JC and Janine. So we're doing a little bit of a preview, a little surprise for everyone that's here, that, yeah, you now have these one-on-one consultations available. So congratulations, Yenzi.
Thank you.
I call you Yenzi. How are you feeling about having me over there?
I'm feeling great about it because this is like a great shift for me. You know, I've worked in the ICT sector for over 20 years as an ICT guy, actually a computer specialist. And, you know, spirituality, healing has always been my passion. And now I can really now I'm going to really, I've given healings to people before, of course, in Belgium, but this is really for me a big new step. And, you know, in doing my passion and actually helping people, healing, because I've been on a healing journey also for the last 14 years, since, you know, what was 2010 that I really started to actively practicing my spirituality. You know, I was reading books in the years before that, but then actually really working on healing myself, you know, almost every day. And that's really a passion of mine. And I learned a few things along the way. And I want to share that with people. And I want to emphasize that I'm still learning also, because, you know, for me, it's an evolving journey, and I don't like spiritual teachers who say that they have arrived and that they're now on the plateau. You know, everybody's a teacher and everybody's a student. And I hope with these sessions, I hope to really help people really shift their energy to live in a higher vibration, to work with themselves, because I have experienced that where I come from and where I am now. I really have experienced how much more, you know, fulfillment and joy you get in your life if you really do the work yourself. And I want to help people, you know, giving them tips, doing the work, you know, do some energy healing also. It's going to be coaching, but it's also going to be healing. I'm also a Reiki and Blueprint healer. Although in my opinion, the Reiki levels I did and the blueprint healing, it is important, but it's not the most important. For me, the most important is the work I've done on myself. And that's also the most important, in my opinion, for the people at home. So if you book a session with me, I give you tips to really work with it on yourself. So you're not left hanging in a way, just one healing and that's it. You're going to get tips on how to work with yourself, specifically tailored towards your situation, actually. So that's a bit what the sessions are about.
Wow. That's
Yeah.
amazing. Like, I'm going to ask you a newbie question. What is the difference? Because I know what's Reiki, because I love I love those types of treatments. But what is the difference between Reiki and blueprint treatment, you said?
Blueprint healing, yeah, it's actually, there's a big difference in the frequency of the energy it carries. Like Reiki, in my opinion, it's an older one, so it comes from Japan and it's been around since the early 1900s. It comes actually from like a Japanese family. There's like a lineage to it, and in my feeling, Reiki it's also hands-on. Like Reiki is, you put your hands on the body usually, and blueprint healing is more in the aura, and the frequency is totally different. For me, the Reiki frequency is more how would I say, like more grounding in a way, also quite emotionally supporting, while the blueprint healing is more focused on, I would say, the aura itself, like the higher bodies, like the higher frequencies in the aura, the more subtle bodies. Reiki is really getting into the physical body and energy, getting into the physical body. Although they, of course, the blueprint and the Reiki overlap a little bit in their workings and their frequency. For me, it's two different energies. But in my sessions, I use them both at the same time. I use the one exclusively for the other, depending on what I feel, actually. But it is true. They're both, like blueprint healing is quite new, since the 90s, and it's actually a different frequency that came in, which doesn't mean the Reiki is less useful. It's just different.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's going to
That's
be
awesome.
amazing.
That's a really good question, Coco. Thank you for that. And we're getting lots of love in the comments for you, Jens. Lisa Fry says, what a sweet soul Jens is. And I want to mention too, before I forget, of course, these consultations, Jens's consultations, are available over at consultations.beyondmystic.net, and they are live now. They are available right now. So this is really, really exciting stuff. And for me, living with Jens and being his partner, I see that Jens is someone who really actually walks his talk. And Jens works on himself every single day. He might get embarrassed with me saying this, but he meditates like almost every single day. He does work on himself. So I think he's more than equipped to now be serving on a greater platform, a lot of like-minded soul family during this very powerful time. So I'm very, very excited for you and proud of you. And Coco, have you ever had energy healing done on yourself or done any training?
Well, training, no, but I do love going to Reiki treatments, and I used to go at least once every 2-3 months. I'm from Quebec, and I would follow my Reiki treatments here, and I loved it. But I must admit that after the treatments, I would be exhausted. I had to drink a lot of water, take care of myself, ground myself because I was totally shook. Every single time I would leave, I felt so shook by every emotion that I would live, but it felt so good. It would help me pass through hard moments I was living in my life back then, and to just remove all of the bad energy. So I just discovered it I don't remember who referred me to a Reiki master. And since then, I've been sending all of my friends, and now I'll be sending all of my friends to you. Because Jan, this is great with the divine masculine energy. That's super, because my Reiki master, she's a woman, so I never had that divine masculine energy with that type of treatment. So that really intrigues me, and I can't wait to live that experience.
Mm-hmm. That is such a beautiful point. Did you want to say something, Jens?
Yeah, it's true. Like most energy healers, and it's traditionally been a thing of women. I personally know a lot more women who do energy healing. Like my Reiki teacher was a woman, and the person who I learned blueprint healing from is also a woman. And there's not a lot of men that do it, actually, and that's also something that I think I wouldn't say a stigma, but it's like, because men traditionally, because it's more a soft thing, like Reiki, it's very gentle and it's very soft and it's very intuitive. I think that's why traditionally women have been more drawn to it. But I think it's time for a change too, and it can also be a very masculine thing. It's just about the soul you are, and I wouldn't say it isn't an exclusively feminine thing, in my opinion. And it's time also for men to do more energy healing, because on the average, men are less inclined also to do these healings, like to go to a Reiki session. And I think it's time for a change, and it is changing, in my opinion.
That is
Yeah.
so true. But
Mhm.
what pushed you to go and hop into that universe? Because, like you just said, men are not really inclined to go towards that type of healing. And what pushed you? When was your aha moment?
Well, a lot of things, but to keep it short, I would say it's my own energetic sensitivity that came up actually when I was around 25, 26. I started feeling people's auras and stuff, like not all the time, but when the energies were strong, like for example, when somebody has a lot of emotions, like when it's off the norm, like normally I don't feel everything, but when it's off the norm, I feel it. And it started bothering me actually. And I also had to go through a whole thing where I had to become stronger in my own energy to be less influenced by others people's energies, because that was like, you could say your intuitive abilities opening up. For me, my intuitive abilities were more tailored on the sensing of energy, not on seeing energies so much, but more on sensing energies. And it was a whole thing for me, because sometimes it really bothered me. I would sit next to somebody um, on the bus, and this person would feel sad, and I would feel sad. So
Mhm.
at the time was when I was really healing, not going through a healing crisis too. I was really opened up, and at the same time I was feeling everything. So that drew me to the blueprint and the Reiki healing, to actually be stronger in my own energy. And if you work on yourself and you do also regular self healing, your energy gets stronger. You're more balanced, and the more balanced you are, the less external energies can influence you. So that was actually my entry point, so to speak.
Wow.
Yeah, that is so cool. And I know because I'm around Jens all the time, and he's a Pisces rising in astrology. So he's got Pisces in one of his top 3 placements. He's like highly psychic and energetically sensitive, in even a very different way from me. And I'm like a professional astrologer and psychic. He really feels it very, very intensely. So when you describe, Jens, that you went through that period when you were 25 and you started to feel people's energies very intensely, that would have been really intense for you. As what would you consider yourself, like an empath? What would you kind of call yourself in that sensitivity kind of context?
Well, I guess what people traditionally call an empath, right? There's this talk of, but I don't know the word in English, like highly sensitive people, like HSP. Do you know that term in English? Like HSP, like highly
Like,
sensitive persons. And
yeah.
there's been this lot of talk in the mainstream media about this, which is people who have who can't stand loud noises and who have like a very sensitive nervous system. And there's been a lot of talk in the mainstream about that, but that's the 3D version. It's different than an empath for me. An empath, I'm not an HSP. I don't have like an overly sensitive nervous system. I can stand loud noises. I like heavy metal music, for example, but I am sensitive to energy. So yeah, there's a distinction there. An empath is really, I would say, an empath is somebody who has like the sixth sense of sensing energies. And I don't mean to say this in a way like those people, empaths, are like superior in any way. No, I think everybody has his or her own innate psychic senses, which can awaken at a certain point, or which or already latent from birth and stuff like that. So
Mm-hmm. Wow, very powerful stuff. And we've got some good questions and comments coming in here. Lindy McGee says, Jens, do you teach how to work with our shadow side? That's a very good.
absolutely, absolutely. That's another thing I will go into in my show I will do on Beyond Mystic, called Expanding Consciousness. I think it's actually I will speak about that in the first show. I will maybe go in detail on it more tomorrow, but there is a like we have to work with our shadow, and I think there is a link between the collective shadow and the personal shadow in a way that um, you have to be able to look at your shadow to heal, but also to collectively heal we have to be able to look at the collective shadow. It's actually the same process, and there is this in my opinion this link between I'm not generalizing, but most people who followed the narrative of the quote unquote health crisis of the last in 2020. Most of those people, and I don't want to generalize, but they don't want to look at the shadow, not within society and not within themselves either. That's why people who are on a healing path, who want to look at their shadow, who want to grow, are generally people who are more who knew what game was being played, and they could see the shadow, and they could know what the dark intention behind that health crisis was. So yeah, it's very important to me to do the shadow work collective, so for yourself, which will also help the global collective. And it's you have to do it for yourself in your own healing, but it's also important that there are people exposing the conspiracies, the shadow side in society. And that's actually one of the things that's going to be a theme, is combining the spirituality and conspiracy, because I'm also quite a big conspiracy theorist, and combining these two actually, and which is actually a form, being aware of the conspiracy is actually a form of shadow work to me. So yes, I think it's really important.
Yeah, thank you, Lindy, and thank you, Jens, for that. And for some people who maybe have never seen you before, Jens, do you want to maybe describe a little bit about what you're all about, your experience the past few years, our experience in Belgium, and how you were one of the only ones really speaking out publicly in Belgium in terms of more of the conspiracy side of things? Do you want to speak on that a little bit?
Sure. Well, for us, for me and MEG, it was a very trying time, because we, when we got together before, I don't know if I can say the word here on YouTube, but before the health crisis happened, and then I think when we were like 4 months together, it happened, the crisis, and then with the lockdowns and stuff, and we actually got separated for 6 months from each other. So that was a very trying time, not knowing, like it was 6 months, but you like after 3 weeks, like when is this gonna end? When can we see each other? And it kept on going, from February till June. Actually July, when we saw each other, I had to get you into Belgium, like sneakily, because you were allowed into Holland but not into Belgium, which was so stupid. All these stupid rules back then. So that was actually a really trying time. I wouldn't say it was a test for a relationship, because I never doubted it, and Meg didn't either. We just video chatted every day, but it's hard, when you don't see someone physically for 6 months. So yes, that was a very trying time. So yeah.
We went through that, which was an adventure. And then 2020, 2021, 2022, Jens was speaking out publicly in Belgium, which Belgium, for those who may not be aware, is one of the not one of the countries. It's a country where the culture at the moment is not so outspoken. Okay. So people speaking out, it's not like the same as in the US, or Canada might be a little bit similar to Belgium. Like it's not polite or normal to be speaking out on really intense subjects.
It's very traditional.
Kind of traditional, yeah. And we're going to be careful what words we say at the moment, because we are streaming on YouTube and Rumble. But yeah, Jens has been, hats off to you, Jens. You've got real street cred of from the beginning, you spoke out. And you were recently in a job that, I don't know if you want to mention that right now, but you can if you want to, is a type of job that you wouldn't expect someone to typically be speaking out in that kind of way.
Yeah, that's true. Well, I'll speak more on that at a later point. But yeah, it was from the employer I had, it wasn't considered. It was a government type of job, and if you spoke out, you were. Yeah, it wasn't really appreciated. but I did anyway because what I saw happening, because I'm aware of this the conspiracy against humanity since 2004, since I was like 20, and of course the moment it happened, I knew they were playing their plan, and I will, and it was so like that time, everybody remembers those lockdowns. It was such like such a it was so draconian, so over the top. You couldn't even go outside anymore for non-essential reasons and stuff. You couldn't go in Belgium. You couldn't go walk in the forest anymore. It was crazy. So I was like, enough with this, and I really amped. I've been speaking out always, even in the time before Facebook, but then I was more on forums, anonymous, when everybody was on forums, under an alias, in the time of 2005. But I really amped it up, during 2020, because it is essential that people learn about this, and still a lot of people don't believe it, and still it is important to keep speaking out about it, because it's only when you know that there is like an malintentions, an evil plan behind it, then you can actually make a choice. Do I go along with this plan or not? So the knowledge has to come first before people can actually make a choice.
Yeah, for sure. And Coco, I don't know if we've ever had this conversation, but what was that like for you in 2020? Like, have you been kind of awake or conscious for a long time, or what was that time period like for you?
Well, when the pandemic hit, no, a couple months before, that's when I had my aha moment. Like I said already during my show, that I come from immigrant parents. My mother's from the Philippines, and they're very spiritual. And my grandfather was a healer, physical healer, and so my spiritual side was very developed because of my family. But my huge aha moment is a couple months before the pandemic hit. I was navigating on the internet, and I went on. I read a newspaper interview saying that the Rothschild family were selling their properties. And I'm a sommelier, so I work a lot with wine. So I know about the Rothschild family, but not in, you know what I mean, Jelly Bean.
Yeah.
But now I know. So when I started to read about that, I'm like, why are they selling stuff when they never sell their properties, arts, or whatever? And then I went down the rabbit hole, and it was over. There was no turning back. And then the pandemic hit, and I was shaking in my boots. I couldn't believe what I was reading. And then it was just nonstop. And for me, I couldn't turn back anymore. And you could ask my friends and family. I'm making them bleed by their ears, because I'm always bringing out the news and bringing out, well, the truth, like we're doing now.
Mhm.
And I can't even believe that I'm here speaking with you guys, and I'm truly honored and humbled by it. And I'm just happy to find this type of community that we're all like-minded people with beautiful souls, and go on to this journey to speak the truth.
Yeah, that was so beautifully said, Coco. And I feel very grateful and honored to be surrounded by you and JENS as Sagittarians. You guys are both Sagittariuses. And, Sagittarius rules truth, the divine truths, the real truths. And so a lot of Sagittarian people, sun, moon, and rising, are natural truthers, because you guys are very passionate about the truth and beliefs that are positive and optimistic and uplifting. So the medicine that you guys share, on top of your optimism and very positive energy, is so needed right now. And it's such a blessing that we have both of you guys now, as of this week, starting weekly shows. Coco, you've been doing the Coco show.
Mhm.
For how long has it been now you've been doing the Coco show?
3 weeks.
For 3 weeks. Has
Yeah.
just flown by, and I want to ask you about that in a second.
Yeah.
But also, JENS is going to start doing a weekly show called Expanding Consciousness. So we're going to be blasted, you guys, on the mystic platforms with these Sagittarian truth vibrations, which is such a blessing. And Coco, I want to ask you, how's it going with your Coco show? Now that
It's
you're getting in the groove of it, are you enjoying it? How's it going?
amazing. Everybody that's watching are so nice and generous with their questions, and especially just spending time with me. I can't ask for more. I'm like truly, truly humbled by it. And just to have like the feedback from everybody, because like I always say, I read all of your comments, so I see everything, and I'm truly, truly happy. It comes from the heart. And I just love speaking with everybody and having my little interviews with my special guests. It just brings me back to the purpose of what am I doing, and I'm doing it for the right reason. And like you say, that a Sagittarius, we're like truthers, and that makes sense to me when you say that. And when you were saying with having goosebumps, it's true. And I'm finally happy to be on my, like we say in French, sur mon X. That means on my ground, and I feel great about it.
It feels so good. And whenever I watch your show, I'm just smiling the whole time. And I'm so proud of you. And I can see all the comments of you, Coco, how you bring so much love and light to so many people, because you're just your real authentic self. You're like one of those people that you're just really you, and fun and funny, but at the same time conscious, which is so, so beautiful. So what you're doing with your show is so important, and it's going very, very well. And JC here says, I'm in love with Coco. Yes, we are in love with Coco too.
Guys.
Hot Pink for Me says, Coco is so cool. Yes, Coco is really cool. And yeah, have you noticed, Coco, any like shifts in your life or energetic shifts since you've started doing your show?
I'm more patient. Before, I wouldn't accept people that wouldn't think like me. Not that I wouldn't accept, but I would get really aggravated and try to like convince people of like, what are you talking about? Can't you see? So now I feel more patient and understanding about where people are coming from and accepting it. And I know that for people that are not still following the beat to our drums, but I know they will follow because I'm seeing it now. Like I said in the beginning of one of my shows, that I'm just letting the pebbles on the ground, and people will start picking them up. Because I think that people like us, we speak the truth, but we bring it in a easy way, so everybody could grasp the information and take it and run with it and do their studies and research to understand, okay, what are they talking about? So, and what I like about the Beyond Mystic team is that there's different levels. You have the queen, Janine, and you, and then I take both informations and soul, and then I run with it, and I try to find my research, my informations to make it more easy for me to grasp and understand. So I think that with my show, that's what I go get as well. Like people that are like newbies like me, and try to understand, okay, what is happening? Because we feel it. It's not, you cannot say that you don't feel it, especially when you go to bed at night. I feel jittery. Sometimes I have a problem going to sleep, but usually I just put down my head on the pillow and I'm snoozing away. But now I feel the shift. And like I said to you before we started the show, during our little meeting backstage, that it's a great time to be alive. That's how I see it.
Yes.
We're making history. And I have a little daughter, and she's only 8, and I always tell her, I'm like, you're my little munchkin, sassy with an attitude. She's 9 now, but one day she'll be like, okay, like we literally, us and everybody that's there following us, we're making history, and it's sincerely a great time to be alive. I know it could be hard sometimes, but honey, it's going down.
Oh my God, it's going down. Yeah, that's that beautiful Sagittarius higher perspective up in here, a la Coco, because yeah, that's some serious truth going on, is that it's fucking historic what we're living right now. There's never been anything like this. And I know when we're conscious, not that we're better than anybody else who's unconscious, but it is a heavy load to carry when, there is that matrix world going on, but a new one being birthed at the same time, being aware of all the corruption, what you were bringing up with the Rockefellers. And, we know a lot of heavy information, and it can be really challenging to go through the motions of it. But what you just said, I like to remind myself of, is that this is historic. This is a gift to be here. It's an absolute gift to be here. Is there any advice, Yenzi, that you would give for people if they're ever feeling down, if they're like-minded like us and they see what's going on in the world? And yes, there are positive changes going on, but it can be freaking challenging as well with, just certain things not being maybe where we want it to be yet. If you've been awake, like some people in the comments here, Tim, who's in the comments here, says he was at the harmonic convergence in 1985. Like that's a long time to be conscious and out of the matrix.
Wow.
What kind of advice would you give to our community at this time?
Well, especially the spiritual perspective, it's if you don't have that spiritual perspective, like Coco said, the big picture that we're in great, amazing times actually, when there's so much shifting, the old world is crumbling down and there's a new world coming in, and that's something we always need to remind ourselves of, because we came. I'm convinced we came here as souls, to live this. To live this great transformation, in this 3D world. And although sometimes it can be really challenging and trying, we had it, for example, 4 years ago during the health crisis. We need to keep that bigger perspective and know that it's. I don't think the world like some people is, and also if you're into conspiracy, balance it with the spirituality. Because you can go too deep in the rabbit hole too, and when you feel you're going too deep, you can get depressed. If you only focus on that dark, only on that shadow, then you can lose your sense of joy a little bit if you're too much invested in it. And everybody has their own limit. Some people can go really deep into it without being affected by it, others less, especially people suddenly waking up and doing all this research like about the Rothschilds and the Rockefellers, and it can be very overwhelming. So that's why I'm really, I'm a proponent of really also focusing on love and joy and that more higher perspective that, that this is an amazing time we're going through. And I'm 100% convinced that this will birth a new earth, which is much more positive than the old one.
That is very beautifully said. And you're going to be starting your weekly new show, Jens, this week, Expanding Consciousness. And the first episode is going to be on Thursday, February 15th at 4 p.m. And do you want to talk a little bit about what we can expect for your new weekly show? What's this going to be all about?
Well, as I said before, it's going to be about, the combination of conspiracy and spirituality. Some shows I'm going to go pretty deep into the woo, as they say on Beyond Mystic, the woo. I like that word. But I'm also going to, balance it out with like I said before, with the spiritual, more perspective, some shows are going to be about healing. Some shows are going to be about like going deep into the woo. I have a show like about cloning and stuff. That's going to be there too, because I feel it's important also to talk about these subjects and bring them into light. I'm a big proponent of bringing the shadow into the light without being solely focused on the shadow. So the show is going to be a combination of spirituality and conspiracy. I like that. I like keeping that balance, and especially most important is the focus on that there is a divine love in the universe. That's like one of my main things, and self-love, which comes from that, because we're all part of this divine and we're all divine spark, and self-love is actually a natural thing for us, but sometimes we forget it through trauma, through bad life experiences. And that's also what I'm going to focus on in the shows, and especially in the sessions for healing, is that self-love spark, because that's like one of the most important things out there, and that divine believing in the divine love, even if you don't experience it, if you believe it, the belief creates the opening, because sometimes we have mental blocks that keep us from experiencing it, but the belief creates the opening. So that's I'm going to focus also on the love and the joy, but also on the woo.
Also on the woo. Yeah, I love that. And Element 1959 here says, sounds like a perfect kind of show. And we've got Farmer Dick here as well. I love what you're saying here, Richard. Conspiracy research is shadow work. I feel like I'm saying this all the time to people when they ask me about shadow work. If you are aware of conspiracies and alternative information, whenever we take that in, I totally agree with you, Richard. That literally is shadow work in real time. Because when we open ourselves to that information, it's not just harboring in our body and waking up ourselves. It's like that 100th monkey effect where we're waking up all the people around us in our neighborhood, in our community, in our state, in our country. And it's a really big freaking deal. So good job, everyone who is doing the shadow work and holding it down, as they say. And we've got JC here. He says, it's all about the woo. Focus on the woo. Yeah, it's all about that woo, y'all. So, yeah, I got to ask you, Sagittarius, what's your secrets? How do you guys stay so optimistic and positive? Like, what are your Sagittarius secrets of life, if you have any that you feel like sharing?
Wow.
Because you guys just seem to be, not that anything is perfect for anyone, but just like so positive, such a beautiful energy. Like, are you guys aware of that? And I'm talking to all Sagittariuses out there. Okay.
Well,
Are you guys
I'll be honest. I love drinking my glass of wine. That's for sure. That makes me very happy in a very responsible way, guys. Don't come to me and start saying, "Oh, she didn't." No, I'm very responsible with my drinking. However, because I thank the universe and that I'm healthy. That's my main spiel, that I'm healthy, so I'm here. And I strongly believe that Jan said, like he said as well, that we chose to be here at this moment in time. So I better make it happen and make it big and beautiful. So I think it's the fact that I'm healthy, and I'm pretty convinced that I chose to be here at this moment precisely, because if not, I would have been during the Great Gatsby time and wearing all of the beautiful jewelries and the beautiful, gorgeous dresses, but I'm not at that moment in time. So clearly, if I'm here in 2024 in front of everybody here, well, I'm going to make it with a big bang, and we're going to live this all together and make it with the truth coming out. So I guess that's how I stay positive and stay with people that have that same energy, even if we're not on the same train of thought, but we treat each other with respect. So I keep myself in that type of entourage with people that respect me, and I respect them back. So I guess that's how I keep the positive Saggy in me.
That's beautiful. I love that. Thank
you.
you for sharing that. And Yenzi, what would you say to that?
Yeah, for me, it's kind of the same. I like positivism. Seeing focusing on the positive, actually. Because we always have like a choice. And even, I learned in my 40 years now that even if we're in trying times, it will always get better. So although we can have really, and I'm not sugarcoating anything, because we can have really intense times. Really we can have really bad things happening in our life that really push us back. But try focusing always on this will pass too. And that's a bit my thing. Is focus on the good in life and have fun. I also like to enjoy. I think that's a Sagittarius thing. I like to enjoy a nice cocktail, also responsibly. I'm not so much into wine. I like a good wine, of course, but I'm more into cocktails. So I like that too, having fun with friends, going out, and just enjoying life. We can enjoy life too. That's a lesson I learned from my cats. They're just chillers and they like to enjoy stuff, and I can learn a thing too from them too. So
that's beautiful. Yeah, our kitties are healers, and they're teaching us how to slow down and relax and be in the present moment. Lakeside Laura says, it's fun being married to a Sagittarius.
Aww.
Yes, it is. It is. And Digi Bean 16 says, Sages are realistic, not too pessimistic or too optimistic, just right. Yes, they definitely can be. Murdoch here has brought up something I think that's a good question. He says, how do we help a spouse that is not waking up yet? And this, you guys, Coco and Jens, I don't know if I've ever said this to either of you individually. This is one of the top things for me personally as an astrologer that I have coming up in my personal consultations, and makes sense because in the current astrology, we've got the North Node in Aries, the South Node in Libra. This is the relationship axis. A lot of people, waking up, becoming conscious, but the partner isn't necessarily there yet. And how do we deal with that? Starting with you, Jens, what would you say to Murdoch's question?
That's a really good question, but if I have to be really honest, sometimes, not always, sometimes you just have to, if you try to waking them up and they don't really respond, sometimes you have to like leave them alone a little bit, in my opinion, which may sound weird, but each soul is making his choice, and if you really explain it to them, but they really show no inclination of interest in it, or even disdain from it, like some people, like, oh, you're crazy, or a conspiracy theorist or something, then it's a hard lesson, especially when it concerns family, to let them take their path. And sometimes it's especially with for example with children and their parents, or vice versa. The parent is awake or the child is not, or the child is awake and the parent is not. I think that's the hardest, because you want to help them, because from your perspective it's so much more valuable to know about this stuff, and they don't want to know about it. But that's one of the hard lessons in life, is sometimes you have to just let people follow their path. And I don't think all souls are meant, that may be a harsh statement, but I think it's the truth. I don't think all souls are going to wake up at this time. Not all souls are meant to wake up. I think each soul is choosing its own path. So that's my opinion. What do you think, Coco?
Well, I think the same thing as you. Well, I always say baby steps, slowly and surely, baby steps, and try to relate and show examples that fit with their reality. So, and when the truth comes out with subjects or personalities or people in the star system that they appreciate, and the truth comes out on that specific subject, then you could show it to them. But don't push it down their throat just by sending a little text, a little, like I always say, little pebbles here and there, and you just put down the article, the newspaper article on the coffee table, just little baby steps that maybe is going to wake them up. That's how I walk around my around my family and friends. But for sure, there's some people that they just don't want to hear it. But like I'll say, same thing as Jan's, slowly, just simple little baby steps, because there's nothing more aggravating of going all up in their faces and trying to show them the proof. They're not going to open up. But when you go slowly, like you're trying to teach your child to walk, I bring it in that same concept. And if they fall, it's all good. I'll pick you up. I'll be there. And if you don't want to hear about it, it's all good. But when you'll have a question, my door is open for you.
Yeah, totally agree with you, Coco. And I always say, I don't necessarily, like, sometimes people come at me when I do the consultations, and I love meeting you guys in our like-minded community. And sometimes people are embarrassed to tell me that they're with someone that's not conscious or awake yet. And I say, whoa. I don't care about that. I don't think that we're, better than other people that haven't woken up yet, because at the soul level, we're all completely awake and on the same page. In my personal opinion, we're just having these human experiences here where we're playing different roles, having different experiences. So I agree with you guys. I think patience is really important. And respect is really important too. Like and it is kind of Valentine's Day time, and we've got the nodes in the relationship access. So it does relate for us to talk about this. And a lot of people in the comments are resonating, and they're happy that we're talking about this. I think there's a difference between being in a relationship with someone that might consciously be on a different page, where they're respecting you and they're not respecting you, right? If we're with someone and they think you're fucking crazy, they literally think that you're crazy, and they make fun of you for it, and they talk behind your back about it to other people, okay, that might be not a alignment relationship anymore. That might be something to look at. That might be two people that are really on different wavelengths. But if you're with someone that isn't aware or awakened to this stuff yet, but they respect you, right? And they respect who you are, I think that's a very different situation. And I hope that makes sense how I just said that. And also, we're at a time right now, like stepping into the age of Aquarius, where we're going through that great awakening. So I don't know if we said this. Well, Jens hasn't been on one of the Beyond Mystic shows yet since you came onto a DFO that we did in October, but I might have said it in another show. Over the Christmas holidays, Jens and I had a breakthrough with a family member that we were not expecting at all. Someone that really had like a wake up moment. And that was kind of shocking for us, right? Not so much in a romantic relationship. I'm shifting gears here. But just to relate it to what we're talking about, you guys, people are waking up, and people that we never thought would wake up, we're going to start seeing that more and more. JC says, many people think I'm crazy. Does not mean I'm wrong. That is true. Focus on the woo, JC. Do you want to talk, Jens, about our experience a little bit of what we had happen over the holidays?
Yes. Well, it's actually in relationship to, the thing you can't mention on YouTube, so I won't mention it. But, the product that was pushed on a lot of people, almost mandatorily by the governments. And, that person know somebody that died from that product, where it was confirmed really that it was from that product. And it really opened her eyes, actually. She felt changes within herself after taking the product. And she was really, you could see she was first a big proponent of it, and now she's really like regretting it a little bit, and really like seeing through it, starting to see through it. So that's actually a really positive step and a really really big change, which also I didn't expect. But from the bad sometimes comes the good, because that product has done a lot of bad, if I may say so, a lot of bad, and when it makes people wake up, it's on a certain level, it's too bad that it had to go that far. But sometimes, we humanity, we are sometimes a stubborn bunch. Sometimes it has to get really bad before a lot of good can come from it. But yeah, that's in that way, it's a positive change. I see happening. We see happening also in family dynamics and stuff.
Yeah, definitely. Is that something, Coco, that you've noticed at all in your personal life with anybody you know?
Not anybody that I know that came towards me, but when the people that I know and say that they have a certain change in their health, well, I'll bring it up, but not like in an aggressive way. I'll just say, well, did you think about maybe that's why you're feeling like that, or maybe your cycle is different because of that? So I'll pretty much push my friends and family when they do share that kind of information. Well, I'll share them to go see go towards more of Chinese medicine, natural medicine, to try to help them, but I won't push it down their throat. But yeah, you guys are lucky that you had somebody that came towards you and said, okay, well, I feel it and I'm regretting it now. So on my side here in Canada, more or less, but when I do hear about it, my friends and family talk about it, well, I'll just ring that little bell and just think about it. And if it's not that, well, good for you. But if it is, honey,
Girl.
I don't know what you did, but you did it, girl.
Yeah, that was a freaking intense moment when we had that happen, because I looked at Jens and I could see there was that Sagittarius fire in your eyes. Like you were getting pissed off, not at the person expressing it, but at the situation. And we both felt this like anger coming up around it. It was really, really interesting.
Yeah, absolutely. It made me actually angry because I it's not something I wrote online. There was this person sitting in front of me saying how much she was affected in a negative way by this thing, and that and then when you see that person in front of you, it's a human thing, and it makes you really angry. Like what did they do? It's so like we just it's hard to fathom the scope of what happened, and this thing that happened. And when you see only one individual who relates to you, their personal story, it makes you really angry because it's such a scam. It was such a deception, such a huge deception, and it made me really angry to be confronted with that in person.
Yeah, for sure. And you guys are hearing my cat is agreeing. He's meowing like crazy in the background. And yes, Ocean, we hear you. And we have somebody else here. There's someone else here. Do they want to join us here? Okay.
Hello.
Ocean?
Hello, everyone.
Well.
Hello.
How are you guys doing?
Good.
Good.
How are you?
Good.
I'm doing well. I'm just prepping the slide deck here for the next show here, Into the Storm with Penny Kelly and Jason Lepore in a couple of minutes. But I wanted to come on. I've been listening to your show, guys. You're doing an amazing job. And I want to ask Jens a question. As far as we know right now, from all of the forecasting, the astrology, Janine pulling cards, some of the remote viewers, the predictive linguistics, we're all looking at 2024 being a huge demarcation year where a lot of consequences, I guess, are going to show up, right? And so for a lot of us who've already done the work in some cases maybe not, we feel like we're prepped to some extent for what's coming. We feel that we've done the right things, but there's always the question of the people around you. If they haven't prepped, if they haven't gone through the healing process, if they haven't really seen the world for what it is, those unintended consequences of all the changes, what Pluto is about to do here in our realm, might create a lot of havoc in our lives. And to me, I'm looking for guidance. So even me and my personal level right now, I feel I need guidance because I have a worldview, I have an understanding of it. But like I said earlier in the show, like people think I'm crazy. So they sometimes I think, well, maybe I am crazy. maybe I should bounce this off somebody else and see if they see what I see, and then have a bigger understanding of how to navigate. And I think this is the trick for 2024 is going to be how to navigate all of this. So I'm curious with Jens, with his new product here, the coaching and healing session with Jens on the Beyond Mystic. Where does that help, Jens, or how can you help bring your focus, your abilities, and your skills to people right now, too, who are in that process now of understanding that all the tectonic plates are shifting and that they might need to be a little bit different this year in order to navigate that, but they need a little bit of nudge or maybe some other insights, whether that's their personal healing, maybe that's their personal growth path in terms of getting into their soul mission. How does your product kind of help them, hone them into maybe a better navigation here for 2024? Jens?
Yeah, that's a great question. And I think you're right. I think a lot of people are still going to wake up if they see certain things, for example, from that product that was not what they expected it was. And I have the same feeling too. 2024 is going to be like a pivotal year, and a lot of people are, in my opinion, the people who haven't done the shadow work, who haven't gone deep into the woo. They're gonna have a really hard time, in my opinion. They're gonna the world is going to be swept from under their feet in a way. They will lose their footing, which was an illusion in a way, because they believed in the illusion of how things were, but that was like kind of an illusion. So if that is exposed as the illusion that it is, they're going to lose their footing and they're grounding in a little bit, and a lot of people are going to have a hard time, I think. And yes, if they find a platform like Beyond Mystic, I think these sessions like this can really help, because I've gone through the same process. Also, because I still remember it's such a crazy thing to realize that everything you have believed in, is an illusion. Everything you've believed up to that point is false. That is a scary place to be. But my message would be, in the sessions we can go deeper, and that is to know that it is an illusion, and you're going to land on your feet again, and that landing will bring you to a truer view of yourself and the world, and it's going to give you more balance in the long run. So whilst it might be intense if you're going through it, trust the process. I can give you some tools to help with it, energetically too. We can do some energy healing to really go through that dark night of the soul, so they say, and to land with a more expanded view of the world, a more expanded view of yourself, and a more stable footing in a way that you don't believe in the illusions and the lies as much, in my opinion.
Well, thank you. I really appreciate that. And I would add to that too. First of all, I love your answer, but that also suggests that for the people who are in the process and are willing to do the work, there's going to be a gazillion opportunities for them because they're going to be a country mile ahead, or maybe even longer ahead of all the other people who haven't done that work yet, or who are not even willing to understand that they have to change their worldview. So again, as doom and gloomy as some predictions might be for 2024 and things in terms of the things that could happen, therein lies all the opportunities for all of us doing the work together. And I think that's the beauty and the strength of this community, people helping each other out. And of course, leaning on each other when we need to, because sometimes, we catch ourselves thinking, oh, maybe I'm crazy. There's a lot going on. So anyways, thank you for that. I really appreciate it. Girls, your thoughts on that, Coco and Meg, before I go?
Yeah, I think it's going to be a huge year of healing. Yes, there's going to be challenges. Maybe we'll have some crazy world events. Maybe we won't. We've got Uranus involved really strongly in the astrology, which is the hardest planet to predict with. So I was just talking to someone about that today. They were like, what exactly is going to happen for the rest of the year? Can you please tell me? And I was like, I'm sorry, I don't know exactly what's going to happen, but we can be prepared for... Ocean is agreeing, for no matter what is going to happen, but we are going to get through it. And I think we're in the hardest part right now. I believe that.
Mm-hmm.
So we've already survived many years of this, and we're going to survive this. And we've got this beautiful community here that you've started, JC, which someone in the comments just said, the Beyond Mystic community has saved my life. So we're blessed to have this community, to be able to connect. And we're going to get through it. I hope I answered that well.
That's good. Yes, absolutely. Meg Murdoch, 007, James Bond. He says, I must have been called to watch this live. This is amazing. Well, thank you. I appreciate that. We're just trying to be... as you know, and we've said this before many times on the show, but we're going through this at the same time as you guys, right? So we're on the screen, but we have the same challenges as you guys with our family members, waking up, our friends and families and all that. And it's important to be able to share all of this together and be information. I think it's priority number one, specifically now for 2024. Coco, your thoughts on navigating 2024 and how it's important to be in community and being able to lean on each other and have that support structure and that family behind you of like-minded souls who are on track for their missions. How does that affect you? How would you share that with Giannis?
And I'm faithful and authentic to myself and what I said to the beginning and I'm telling to everybody that's watching us right now. I know it's difficult. And especially for the people that were into the woo since 1980s. I wasn't still born yet, but it's all good. But it's a hella great time to be alive. And it's amazing that we found each other. Thank you for the internet, even if it did bring some bad moments in the human history. But right now, at this moment present, it's a hella great time to be alive and to support each other and to... Like, I love saying it in French, de propager la bonne nouvelle is to bring out the news, and we're all in it for the win. I don't know why, but I'm not worried. Like, I'm so confident in the energy that's surrounding us. I know it's difficult. We're all going through our difficult moments. Honey, I went through a difficult moment yesterday, just waking up in the morning. Honey, my back. But
I love what you said about propager or to propagate. To me, what I would add to that is share your light, right? Like, don't be afraid anymore. Share your light. Exactly. Do it as best you can. We are, of course, heading into the storm here in just a few minutes. So spreading your light is going to be even more important. So, guys, if you want to join us there, whenever you're done here on the Oracle show with the beautiful family here, come and join us here. We're going to start momentarily. And Jason Lepore is also going to join us with Penny Kelly. So you don't want to miss that. Thank you so much, everyone. And thank you, Meg, for giving me a few minutes here to come say hi to the folks and spend some time with you guys. I'll let you go now. I'll go meet Penny Kelly and Jason Lepore in the other chat room and set up here for the show. But I love you guys and congratulations and welcome aboard. Jens, really happy to have you on the team, and I wish you all the best.
Thank you.
All of you also watching the show here for 2024. All right, guys, I'll see you later. Take care.
Thanks, JC.
Bye.
Bye. I love when JC pops in. It's so much fun. Yeah. So Yeah, we've just got a minute or two left in the show, and I think it's time that we do a pyramid giveaway. And what should our question be, you guys? This is a beautiful pyramid by, of course, Carla at Ascension Organites. And this one is called Anana. And we're going to play the video by Carla speaking on Anana. We'll play the video, and that'll give us time to think of a question, maybe.
Hello, everyone. This is Carla from Ascension Organites. And today I have a piece that belongs to the Love Collection. So the Love Collection is all the pyramids that have to do with love, self-love, romantic love, and soul connection. So this one here is Inanna. Inanna is made of rose quartz, rhodonite, red garnet, red jasper, and rhodochrosite. She also has stainless steel, aluminum metals, and the seed of life in silver. So Inanna is actually a Sumerian goddess of love and war. She's all about self-love, self-worth, and connecting to ourselves. I'll give it a quick turn so you can see it. And there's Inanna. I hope you guys like it, and I'll see you soon. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Carla. That is a beautiful Organite pyramid. Wow. Every time I see one of Carla's pyramids, I'm just blown away every single time. So one of our lucky soul family members here is going to win one. And what do you guys think we should ask as a question? Coco, do you have any ideas?
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, where is JENS from? Is he from Canada? Is he from Chicago? New Orleans? From the United States of America? The first person to give the answer in the chat will win the fabulous pyramid. Wait a minute. Oh my gosh.
Oh my God, it's like coming all over.
You guys are really listening.
Yeah. Kathy says Belgium. Yay. Congratulations, Kathy. You have won an Anana pyramid by Ascension Organites. Please email us at Beyond Mystic. I think, what's the email, Coco? info@beyondmystic.net,
Yeah.
maybe? Yeah.
Well, if not, they could email me, coco@beyondmystic.net.
Thank you. So yeah, email coco@beyondmystic.net, and we will be sure to get that beautiful pyramid over to you, Kathy. Congratulations. And also, before we finish up here, Carla at Ascension Organites is also doing a special Love Day sale where she's having all shungite pendants are 15% off. You can buy 2 or more and get 20% off using coupon code, all in one word, Love Day. Ocean is still meowing, over at ascensionorganites.com, and that's available until February 18th. So thank you so much, Carla, for that Love Day sale that you are offering. What better gift than shungite, which protects us from the EMFs, transmutes negative energy, and grounds us. So that is a beautiful gift to give. And thank you, Coco, so much for joining, and Jens, so much for joining. You guys can find Coco over at the Coco Show every Friday at 4 p.m. Eastern. And now you guys can find Jens over here at Beyond Mystic. He's going to be doing his weekly Expanding Consciousness show on Thursdays at 4 p.m. And you can book in with Jens for his synergy coaching and healing sessions over at consultations.beyondmystic.net. And again, you guys, please remember to like, share, and subscribe to our Beyond Mystic YouTube and Rumble channels. And yeah, thank you guys so much for your support. We love you all very, very much. Thank you guys for joining me, Coco and Jens. And we will see you guys next time. Bye. Mwah.
Bye.